Hi everyone, I'm Shapiro and welcome to our Step 3 highlight video. Step 3 is change your patterns and beliefs and step into the truth of who you are. We've had an amazing bunch of speakers speaking during this step. We've had Beverly Garb, Jim Hallows, Carrie Dinau and Jonathan Nadelman, Scott Miller and Daniel Sadiq. So, Beverly Garb, I asked her about if she could identify a belief that shifted for her to bring in something that she really wanted in her life. And she told us how she had had a belief of being betrayed and of feeling betrayed, and how she went about shifting that so that she radically changed her life experiences and what she drew to her. She also told us about how our past can create our presence, and she really went into that in quite some detail. She also gave us a step-by-step process for shifting our core beliefs, and I really invite you to check that out. That's in our highlight workbook, that step-by-step process for shifting core beliefs. So we then heard from Jim Hallows. Jim was talking about the trait of high sensitivity. And he taught us about, that highly sensitive people process things more deeply than non-highly sensitive people. And they have more reactive and responsive brains. They can be more introverted or inward, more creative. They're more cautious. They need to feel more in control, need more alone time. These are just some of the traits of high sensitivity. And he taught us all about highly sensitive people in relationship and how they can best go about relationship and navigating their needs. He taught us that it's a really great idea for highly sensitive people to at least consider being in a relationship with a non-highly sensitive people, but making sure that that person is committed to understanding and honouring and getting to know about the traits of high sensitivity. He taught us about yin and yang energies and how to balance the yin and yang energies in our relationship. So lots of wonderful stuff there from Jim. Let's talk about Carrie Dinau and Jonathan Nadelman. I so loved this interview. They were just so beautiful, and they were our inspiring couple for Step 3. So they really answered our questions directly from their personal experience and how it applied to their own relationships. And they taught us about, what they feel a soulmate conscious relationship really is, and that they really feel that a relationship acts like a mirror to show us all those parts of ourselves that need to heal and grow. And that they really share this context so that in the challenges and when conflict is happening, they are always able to come back to that bigger context, that that person is there and serving them to grow and to become their best selves. And that how much they believe that. It was so beautiful. And they told us that, when they came together, that they were actually very different. They had huge differences and huge needs, that were very, very different from each other. But how they went about expressing their non-negotiable needs. And Carrie was, telling us that she was very, very clear about her needs and the needs that were non-negotiable, such as that he always spoke the truth, that her partner always stayed in conflict, so he was able, rather than shutting down, he was able to be in it and see it through. These were just a couple of her non-negotiable needs, and how important it was for her to get very, very clear on what she needed in a relationship, so that when she became with Jonathan, that she was able to communicate that with him, so that he was able to respond to that. And Jonathan told us about how he had a need of being with somebody that was able to go to a deeper level with him, and able to go to a level of intimacy not previously modelled for him. And they told us how, you know, there are certain practices that really keep their marriage alive. So they set up a practice of going on a hike. You know, if they're rather than separate through contact, they will always go on a hike. This really helps to ground them, and they're able to be out in the open and reconnect with themselves and reconnect with each other. And that they've set this up in advance, that they will always do that first rather than separate. They also go to a monthly healing group, and they receive mentorship. They spend time around other conscious, committed couples. And these are just some of the practices that really keep their passion and their relationship alive. So let's come to Scott Miller. Scott taught us all about rewriting our story, that we may have had a story running in the past, but now we are able to rewrite our story. So he taught us all about that, you know, we can go around telling our negative experiences, and that being a storyteller is not so much about our experiences, but it's more about the storyteller ourselves, and that we can shift our story. And he took us through a whole process of, you know, what are the most common stories that we go around telling? How do we introduce ourselves? What's the gossip that we talk about? What do we talk about with our friends? You know, what are the common themes? And then, are those things actually serving you? And very often, you know, our themes are of hardship and pain. And by repeatedly telling those stories, we're going to create more of the same. And in actual fact, we can choose our stories and to start to rewrite your story and start to become consciously aware of what you're talking about and what story you're telling. And he gave us lots of examples about how he had done this in his own life and the magic that started to show up in his life by doing that. And again, this step-by-step process is in this week's highlight workbook. I encourage you to check that out. Daniel Sadiq, you know, when I asked him about a soulmate relationship, he was saying that, you know, again, we accept the other person as one who we have the gift of being challenged by for our own growth and healing. And we appreciate that person and the dualities of the relationship, even when it is challenging and painful. You know, a true soulmate helps us become the best we can be and to reach our fullest depth and potential. He also taught us, he also told us what love is, and he had a beautiful take on what love is, and that it is made up of, you know, desire, passion and pleasure, feelings of intimacy, emotional boundaries, the need for unity, devotion or attraction towards others. He told us about the triangle of love, which is love, passion, sex or intimacy, and how we need to balance that triangle to really have healthy relationships. And he taught us a little bit about, you know, how a person can develop healthy communication skills and change their old patterns. And this is about being clear, having clarity, developing curiosity, and developing healthy boundaries. And again, he taught us a whole lot about how to set healthy boundaries. Again, you can find full details of that step-by-step process in our Step 3 highlight workbook. I've just given you a few little highlights there of all the wonderful things that we discussed with our speakers and so many wonderful nuggets of gold that they gave us. So I encourage you to buy our upgrade package if you can, which contains all of those replays that you can listen to time and time again, as well as other wonderful bonuses, including a program with myself, and also to check out the highlight workbook that is included with your email. So thank you so much, everyone. I look forward to being with you next week for Step 4, which is shine up your radiant light and become irresistibly magnetic. Lots of love, everyone. Bye-bye.